We're on the Rated XYZ, the Coach's Room podcast. Appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you.
So before we get started, we're just going to look at a little bit at the bio. She's told us not to read everything, so
Please don't.
I won't, but I will highlight that you are currently Executive Director of TRIO programs at Harris Stowe State University, which is the only HBCU in St. Louis. That's something I did not know, actually. She has over 25 years of experience in education from K through 12, higher ed, nonprofit, and federal roles. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, you started out as a former 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher at Normandy Middle School.
Yes.
Currently hold a PhD in educational management, higher education from Hampton University, research focused on sustainable fundraising for HBCUs. And you've held various positions at DePaul University, Washington University in St. Louis, served in the U.S. Department of Education during the Obama administration.
Yep.
And at Trinity Washington University and University of the Columbia Community College. Currently a member of the Jennings City Council.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, Chair of Ways and Means Committee. And you are the co-host of a podcast called Two Dancing Docs. We will get into that.
Yes.
And it really does dance.
So much fun.
Finally, author, educator, and advocate dedicated to helping marginalized students find their path and succeed. Welcome to the program, Dr. Kim.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. So first question, wonderful accolades, the doctor. I mean, when we address you, yes, it's definitely Dr. Kim, but who is Dr. Kim beyond the titles and accolades?
Right. So that's a loaded question. I would say that I am a person who loves to help people with resources. That means my residents, also students. I also am an auntie. I wrote a book called When Auntie Comes to Visit, Christmas with Auntie. And so it's supposed to be a series. I wrote that during COVID. I love concerts. I love movies. I love Hallmark. I love, I'm a lover of the arts. And so I love the arts, obviously in education and working with students and families. But I think that really, I just love to have fun, right? So I love to have fun, but I also love to help people. I'm a giver. I love to volunteer. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I don't know if that was mentioned, but we love social action, anything social action, political, but really trying to do what's right for people in this country and in the world.
So what's your favorite concert this year, or did you go to any concerts?
Just came back from the Beyonce Cowboy Carter concert last week, and it was absolutely amazing. And so the next two concerts up are what I will say is Beyonce, obviously, and Usher in Vegas were two of my favorites. Upcoming is going to be Chris Brown and Brandy and Monica. So really excited about that for the year. I also love musicals, so I have season tickets to the Fox. So this year it'll be MJ again, The Wiz. Really excited about those. And then I go to the Muni here in St. Louis, and I'm also on opera boards here in St. Louis on the Opera Theater of St. Louis. And so love doing those types of things. And so fun doing those things. And I also like to hang out with my husband, like to hang out with him as well. He actually hangs out with me. So I drag him along to a lot of the things that I like to do, but he is a lover of music as well. And we love like jazz. We both met in the band. We love music. I was a flute player. He played 3 instruments and I was a drum major. So we were really into music and how it sort of feeds the soul, right? So
Right.
That's who I am outside of, I just like to have fun, be with friends, hang out, and be sort of the connector. I'm also like the connector of the groups, right? I'm always helping plan things, helping bringing people together, those types of things. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, and I'm starting to hear it now, the two dancing docs. I'm starting to get it now. I'm starting to understand it. Where it's coming from.
Yes. We love to dance. So, just real quick, Dr. Cherie Lee and I, we both have a doctorate degree. She has a Psych D and I have a PhD in education. And so we met in high school and we just loved to dance and stuff. And so we came up with this concept of two dancing docs to really talk about issues that we're facing in our communities, whether it's perimenopause, mental health issues, finances, raising children, being an auntie, all of the things that we're going through in our communities, and how can we support our community to be better, right? So that's
Right.
really the premise of our podcast, but really thinking about not only in your personal life, but then in your professional life. So we'll talk about some things like we're going to talk about on this show with like mentorship, but really sponsorship. And we're going to talk about, how do you land the corporate jobs? What does that look like? How do you land the nonprofit jobs? How do you
Right.
get into education after, like, your retirement job, as people like to say? So, and what that looks like. And so we just started. We're really excited about, and it's really fun. It's like a hobby for us. So we're really excited about just, talking to people, seeing what they want us to talk about. That's the other thing. We've asked our audience, what do you want us to talk about? And so we'll talk about those things as well. And hopefully we'll grow our following.
Right. That's a much needed space. I mean, just to have that, available to us, especially in our community, it's much needed.
Mhm.
I mean, you got a lot of
Mhm.
podcasts talk about drama, music, sports, but
Mhm.
mental health and with the avenue that you guys, or you young ladies, I
Mhm.
should say,
Mhm.
are providing for us, it's amazing. So you're
Yeah.
a proud alum of the TRIO Upward Bound Math Science program.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how did that experience shape your understanding of mentorship and possibility?
So that experience, obviously, I'm getting chills just thinking about like the experience that I had in relation to where I am now.
Right.
So I did it in high school and I went to Cleveland Junior Naval Academy, which is a military high school here in St. Louis. It's no longer around, but it was. And so we went for a 6-week program to the University of Northern Iowa in Cedar Falls, Iowa. I actually met my best friends who we all ended up in the Obama administration, which is kind of dope, in high school. Can you imagine? Right. We met each other in high school. We're best friends. We all became a part of the Obama administration. But anyway, that shaped my life because I had mentors there, right? I had the camp, sort of the RAs or the camp counselors, if you will, to be sort of mentors to sort of shape the way that experience helped me. But then I could see, after that, I became a camp counselor, right? And just thinking about mentorship, they were mentors for us. And so then I sort of gave back and became a mentor to others as a camp counselor. In my younger days, I was also an RA in college, which is a residential advisor, or it was a community advisor when I was in college. But so that really shaped my life. That experience, right? The TRIO experience shaped my life. Not only did it shape my life with mentorship, but just really thinking about college and what that looked like, right?
Right.
Both of them, I was low income, right? But both of my parents did graduate from college. So I'm not first generation. And even though I'm not first generation, they had graduated 20 years before I went to college. So the way college was structured was different. And so making sure that they had, I had what I needed was difficult. FAFSA wasn't around when they were in college. They both went to college on scholarship, so they had no idea what that looked like. But that experience helped me to help my parents help me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or advocate for me, right? In that moment. So those experiences with TRIO in general, as we know, TRIO works, but I'm a living testament of how TRIO works and helping students think about college in a way that they wouldn't think about. And so yeah, so that's how it helped me, right? The Upward Bound program also helped me make connections with people and friends, and that was my first interaction with, maybe not my first one, but that was it was my first interaction on a college campus while I was in high school. That was my first experience. And so that was very powerful, right? Just thinking back on it now, that I think that might have been my only experience, to be honest, was that experience on a college campus, because I don't remember going to another college, even though I got accepted to 3 colleges and decided to go to one, but I hadn't been there before I went, right? I think that that was my only experience, and it shaped my life. Like, just thinking about a 6-week summer program with other students from St. Louis and Iowa and other places, sort of getting together, doing cultural trips. We went to Chicago. I don't think I
Mm,
had ever been to Chicago before either, during that time. And so, just having those experiences while I was in high school really exposed me to something that I may not have been exposed to before.
right. So what does mentorship look like to you? I know you mentioned it, and you said you became a mentor.
Hmm.
You became you had took advantage of the opportunity to become a counselor. So what does that look like to you? And how
Yeah.
do we train more of them? Right? How do we find
Yeah.
more mentors?
So I think people have to be willing to be a mentor, right? You have people in different positions, but you have to have someone who may be willing to be a mentor. You have people who speak and do all of these things or and are CEOs or mid-level management on up, right?
Right.
But you have to find a person who wants to be a mentor. Everybody doesn't want to be a mentor. People are just kind of working, right? You have to find a person who's willing to mentor you. And what that means to me is there's two things. There's mentorship and then there's sponsorship, right?
Hmm.
Mentorship is helping is for people that want to help you on your journey and whatever that looks like. That could be
Right.
professional, that could be personal, or anything in between, right? Sponsorship is someone who will speak up in the room when you are not there and will speak on your behalf and advocate for you. And so
Right.
I think that you have to get both. Now, it could be the same person in one, but you could have one or both, or you could have both in one person, right? Just
Yeah.
depending on what that looks like, because everyone who's a mentor may not have the power to help you move to the next level,
Right.
right?
Right.
If that makes sense. So the mentor could be working in the same industry that you're in or the same industry that you want to be in, or just in life, in your life choices, you can have mentorship. People that
Hmm.
help guide you with finances, people who help guide you with just life choices, right?
Right.
Somebody that you talk to, and it should not be transactional. That's the that's the biggest piece that I want to get to your audience is that mentorship should not be transactional. It should be a relationship, right? It should be you following up with the person. It should be you reaching out to them reaching out to you. It should be a beneficial for both people.
Right.
And it shouldn't just be transactional, like, what can you do for me? Because I think that's where people get caught up in a lot of these situations where the mentors,
Mhm.
it didn't work out because it can't be transactional. And then also, know your why. When you're asking someone to be your mentor, know why you want them to be your mentor and talk to them about this is what I want to do and this is how I feel like we can be beneficial to each other. So
Right.
I have mentors that are in my, higher education space. I have mentors who are not in my higher education space.
Hmm.
I have people that I talk to all the time that sort of help guide me through not only my career but then in my life choices, you know,
Right.
um and I'm blessed and thankful for all of them. And I'm very outspoken and sort of an extrovert, and so I'm able to go up to people and say, "I want you to be my mentor." But
Right.
I also have to do the follow up to say, "Hey, I want you to be my mentor, and this is why, and
Mhm.
this is what I think would be beneficial for both of us." Right.
Right.
Um, and normally it's not as beneficial to the person that you're asking to be the mentor, but I feel like if they love to give back to people, they're okay with doing that, right?
Yep.
If their mission is to sort of give back. So that's what mentorship means to me. I feel like I'm a great mentor to others and I have absolute wonderful mentors, right? So and when my mentees call me, I'm available for them. Whatever
Hmm.
it is they need, I give them options on, the way that I would go, but also here are some other options, right? That you can
Right.
go this way or you can go that way. I'm not just you should do this or else. There should be some options and some choices. Um, and I think that I'm a good mentor to students and folks that I mentor. A lot of my mentees have become lawyers, doctors in occupational therapy, working with international affairs, going on to grad school. So I've had a lot of mentees that come back to me at every point to say, "Hey, thank you so much for mentoring me." And that brings me great joy, right? So you have to be a person who that gives you joy, because if that's not the case, then you're not doing it for the right thing, right?
Man, you answered all my other questions.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you good, but that's good. That's wonderful. I I mean, that's what we're looking for. I mean, someone who's passionate, someone who, is just in it and loves it. But you did mention sponsorship, which I want to get back to. And that's something that I've never heard of. I've never heard of that. So how are you incorporating that in your mentorship or as a mentor? How are you blending that in?
So when I hear the person's name in the room or somebody's looking for somebody to do something, say, you work in another person works in the education space and I have a mentee and I'll be like, you know what, I know such and such, they would be good in this position. Have you thought about them? Right. And this is sort of their resume, or I'll run it down, right? So that's in the same industry space, right?
Mhm.
Or, if I'm in a volunteer space working with other people around fundraise or whatever, I'll say, hey, have you thought about such and such? I think they would be good for this position, or I think they would be good for this volunteer opportunity, or I think that they would be good for this. Have you thought about this? And I'm always connecting people. Like my brain automatically is like, who can I connect you to for everything? Right. My brain is always working around who can I connect you with that will help you with that? Who can I always
Mhm.
at all times? And I didn't know other people didn't think like this, but I just thought it was natural for everyone. But apparently it's
No, it's
not.
not.
But that's also a selfless person, right? It's not about me, it's about us. It's about everyone, right?
Yeah.
Everyone can have a seat at the table. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
And we can all have a seat at the table. It doesn't have to be one of us. Everybody can have a seat and everybody can do different things. It For me, it's not about me. And what brings me great joy is to help other people to get where they need to be. Because at some point I may need them again to say, hey, I need a job now. Can I work for you? You know?
Right.
And so I think that, I do it because it brings me joy, but also it gives me this personal satisfaction, like I help them on their journey.
Right. Right.
So I don't know if I answered your question, but sponsorship is really just speaking up in the room when others are not in the room. So I'll give you an example. One of my mentors often spoke up for me in the room that I wasn't in, and that's how I was able to get sort of promoted and or thought about me in spaces in which I wouldn't have even thought about, right?
Right.
And that kind of happened to me at DePaul, right? I was called and the president was like, "Hey, you can do anything for 2 years, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so, she called me, she had a need, and I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." And I did it for 2 years. And so I was very thankful for her as a mentor to trust me to do that role, right? To be the inaugural director of that program. And so I was very thankful and humbled that she, entrusted that position to me. But other mentors have done that for me. And so I've been very blessed. And even when you think about the Obama administration, so many people spoke up about me in those rooms that I wasn't in to help, me get into the administration. And so I am very appreciative of all of my mentors and that I've come across. And mentorship is very powerful, right? Because
Yeah.
I haven't had a situation where also mentors are great in also helping to make you go on the right path, right? Because
Mhm.
I could be somewhere totally left or right, and I'd be like, I need you to stay straight. I need you to focus. So I think that having a good mentor does that. Having a
Mhm.
good mentor doesn't sabotage you, is not jealous of you, is always an advocate for you, right? And so you have to discern that too when you're having this relationship with this person, because you have to understand. And at some point, relationships stop, right? So just because
Mhm.
they may have been your mentor of this journey of your life, they may not always be your mentor, right?
Correct.
And so you need to be able to discern that and say, okay, you know what?
Mhm.
This may not be working out. We're not aligned in what I'm trying to do, right? And so this relationship is not aligned. I've never had a situation where that hasn't happened for me.
Uh-huh.
But what I will say is that always just listen and kind of know what the other person is thinking, because I think a lot of times we get caught up in what we want to do and not
Uh-huh.
thinking about how this person could help you or sabotage you, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Because everybody is not, well, I'm a little naive in some ways, right? But everybody is not as nice, to be quite honest with
That's
you.
right.
And so you have to really figure out whether or not the person has your best interest at heart or not, because you could be calling your mentor a mentor and they actually might not be, right? And so you need to make sure you are getting a good read of the person. Like I said, that relationship is so important, because I know stories of people who they thought were their mentors and would ask them to write recommendations for things, and they would totally write them a bad one or not give them a good recommendation. And that's cost people grad schools, right? That they really wanted to get into because they didn't know that this person didn't give them a good recommendation. We also have to discern that, right? Who do we ask for recommendations? Making sure that person can give you a good recommendation. I've over the years had times when I talk to my the person who I thought would recommend me and say, hey, if somebody asks you for a recommendation, what kind of recommendation would you give me? I think that's good to ask. So you'll know, right? And I think people don't think like that. They're like, oh, I asked such to give me a recommendation, I'm sure it's gonna be good. No, you don't know. And a lot of times I send my students, when I do recommendations, I send them the recommendation so they can see it before I send it. Because I want them to see what I'm writing and be okay with it before I send it, right? And a lot of people don't do that. So I think that that's important. I also ask, if I'm getting somebody to recommend something, can I see it before you send it so I can know what you're saying and so that we can align, make sure everything's aligned. But yeah, I think you have to know your boundaries, but also have to know that the mentor has your back. I haven't had any issues where I've had bad mentors. I've always had positive mentors and folks that really wanted to help me and really get me on the right track, because I've had situations where I've been naive to things, and they'll be like, they mean this, right? And I'll be like, no, I didn't know.
No, right.
I didn't know. So, and I think that lends to communication, right? How do you want to be communicated with your mentor? Are you a person that needs direct communication? Like, tell me, because I don't understand sort of that passive aggressive or being light with me. Just tell me direct. Just say what you mean and mean what you say, right? Because it's very hard for me to figure out passive aggressive. Now, I can see it when somebody else is telling somebody else, but I can't see it when somebody's telling me, right? I can't see what people mean sometimes unless you tell it to me straight. Like, I need you to do A, B, and C, right? And so the ambiguity. So yeah, I think mentorship is so important. And a lot of people don't have mentors. I didn't know that. I don't know how they get through life without other people help guiding them.
Wow.
Besides God, of course. But
Right.
I just don't know how people sort of get through without having a friend, having a mentor, having someone to sort of help guide you through, right? You know what else is really important with mentorship? Getting someone who knows the industry in which you're trying to work in, right? And someone at a higher level than you are, because having a mentor on your same level does not work. You need someone that's higher than where you are in order to benefit from that mentor, right? And their experiences, because what it is, you're benefiting from their experience.
So break that down a little bit. So you said getting someone higher. So are you saying, like, let's just take me for an example, and I want to transcend in my career. I'm going to find someone like a lawyer or a doctor or not even that. Like, if I'm playing basketball or whatever, I'm looking for someone higher in that field.
Right. If you're playing basketball, then it should be a coach, right?
Okay.
If you're the player, it should be a coach, right? If you want to work in the management side, it should be the manager of wherever you're trying to go, right? Or the CEO of where you're trying to go, or the vice president, or somewhere like that. I think that it shouldn't be someone on your same level. Now, that could be your friend, but mentorship, no. It should be somebody that's where you're trying to go. So I always tell students, if you're trying to get a job in, X, Y, and Z, figure out what school these people went to so that you can follow the same path and reach out to them, right? Because then you know that you'll get there, because this is sort of the path. And everybody's path is different because it doesn't go straight. It's sort of a curvy line, up and down, whatever, roller coaster. So when you're thinking about your job, where do you want to go? But a lot of people don't even know where they want to go. See, that's the problem. You got to know where you want to go before you can even reach out to somebody to be your mentor, right? And even if you decide that's not what you want to do, they can still be your mentor. You just have transitioned to something else, right? They can still help you. And I think most people can really help you also, not only in your jobs, but in life skills as well, if you're having
Yeah.
some other things going on. So I think making sure that, and that's hard to do too, because how do you, and then the other part is, do you ask someone at your job to be your mentor or outside of your job? See, those are also different avenues that you can take, because if it's a person at your job, then you might want to also be careful because you don't know who knows who, right? So that's another thing. That's another political layer, right?
Oh yeah, I know a little bit about that. My wife, I know a little
Right.
about that.
Right. That's another political layer. If you do it for someone outside, then that's great because they can kind of see all sides from outside, you know?
Yep.
Um, and so it's nothing bad with getting someone in your current role, to be your mentor, to help you navigate that particular institution, because that's not a bad thing to do. But also be careful, right? Because you just never know how politically that could be misconstrued.
So if I can
Yeah.
walk it back a little bit, just what I'm hearing, to get a good mentor, need some discernment, some diligence,
Mm-hmm.
need to choose well, need
Mhm.
to set good boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Mentor needs to have your back. They probably need to know your communication style. It
Yep.
needs to be somebody that's above you at some point, whether it's in the industry or out of the industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Quick question I got just as you going along is
Mhm.
there room in the mentoring world for an introvert?
There is.
And what does that look like?
Because I'm an extrovert, it's kind of difficult, but I will let you know. I have a I have a lot of introverted friends and a lot of students that I mentor who are introverts.
Mhm.
It's much needed for them because they need mentorship, but we also need mentors who are introverts as well.
Okay.
Because
Have
they'll
you
know
come
how.
across mentors who are introverts and do well at it?
No, I mean, I haven't personally.
Right.
I haven't come across mentors who were introverts. I've had mentees who have been introverts,
Okay.
but I personally have not come across mentors who have been introverts. But some people are extroverts for work and introverts at home. So that's a different
Yeah.
thing. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just haven't come across that. And I know that that's draining for them. I do know that.
Mm-hmm.
For folks who are introverts, I know that it's
Yeah.
quite draining. Um, and yeah, I think I know. Well, now that I think about it, I think I do know some mentors. There is a lot of room for mentors to be introverts, but I think when you think about them speaking up in a room, I wonder if they do that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's needed. It really is needed because the introvert who speaks up for a person, that's huge because they don't speak up often. They kind of just lay back, do their thing, work hard, all of those things. And they probably do some extroverted things that they may not want to do, but
Yeah.
but yes, I think it's a need for folks who are introverted. It's also a need for people who are extroverted to take a step back
Mm.
because it can be very overwhelming. Uh,
Could you get burned out, you think, if you're extroverted and trying to mentor,
oh
put your
yeah.
hands in too much
Well,
stuff?
I think because I'm nosy and I want to know everything about people, I have fun with it. But there are some times where I get drained because nobody's really checking on the strong person, right?
Right.
Nobody's really checking on me.
Yeah.
So what I will say is that with my mentors, they do check on me, but I'm mostly reaching out to them. But some of them do check on me and like, hey, how's it going? But yeah, I think there is room for both introverts and extroverts to get burnt out on always being there, always mentoring, because it's also emotionally draining when you're
Right.
thinking about what people go through at work. Sometimes, it can be very difficult at work with other people, right? It's never the work, it's always the people, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so
Right.
thinking about how to navigate work relationships and work friendships, and then also trying to elevate in positions, it's not easy at work. I don't know that people understand how difficult work can be, and I don't even know it. I feel like I need to teach a class on just how to navigate the workspace after graduation, right? Or like
Terrence will
once
sign up for that.
you said what?
Terrence and I will sign up for that class.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Sign me up.
Right. Like,
Mhm.
how do you navigate the work world after you graduate from college or after you graduate from high school. Like, how do
Yeah.
you know, even just having the emotional intelligence to do that
Mm-hmm.
might be difficult. Like, how do you talk to your boss? How do you get the work done? Do you on the deadline? Like, and what if your supervisor doesn't give you deadlines? How do you do that? How do you navigate that? And
Yeah.
then, you know, just the office, I won't say office gossip, but the water cooler, you know, just all of that. How
Yeah.
do you navigate all of that, get your work done, get the product done correctly, and then try to move up? It can be a difficult task to do. I think talking to your mentor about that and how do you navigate those things, because obviously everybody has been through it, but nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about how you navigate these waters, right? And nobody really, I was going to say, nobody really talks about those political landmines either. And so that's one of the answers that I give when I am giving a recommendation for students or people to go on jobs. They're like, what is their strength and weakness? And so I flip it and I say, what the person needs is someone to help them through these political landmines that they may face in this position. So they won't have any pitfalls when they're in these roles, because that's really what it is. How do you navigate the boss, the attitudes, the moves, the work that you have to do? How do you produce the work? What does that look like? Nobody really talks about it. We all talk about getting a job, but nobody talks about how do you navigate the job.
I'm ready for this class. You got me signed up. I'm ready for this class. Like,
right. I think I just need to go ahead and do something online and talk about it. Right.
Yeah, but speaking of the classroom, I want to get in the classroom because you started your journey in 7th and 8th grade as a social studies teacher in middle school.
Yeah.
So fill us in. Like, what do you remember about the first day of walking in that classroom?
Oh Lord,
you just triggered her.
Yeah,
it was a trigger. It's a trigger. So what I will say is that I actually, my undergrad was in criminal justice. So my plan was to be a lawyer. So obviously that did not happen, but I think I still am going to go to law school in my older age. But walking in that first day, so I will give you this funny story that my teammates, so it was 4 people on the team. So it was the language arts teacher, social studies, science, and was it 3 or 4? Okay, and math. So it was 4 people on the team. And so my teammates was like, she ain't gonna make it all year. She ain't gonna make it. Okay? They told me this. They were like, she ain't gonna make it a year. I made it 5 years.
Wow.
Good.
Same school. And then that's when I moved to DC after that. But I made it 5 years, and I was running from education. It's because my mother's an educator. She's been a special education teacher for 49 years. Okay.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not going to be no teacher. I can't do that. No, I'm not doing that. But I absolutely loved it. And I loved middle school because middle school is a tough age. First of all, they're still babies coming from 6th grade. And if you can get them in that 7th grade, that's like a sweet spot. Once they get to 8th grade, it's like, oh my God. So I taught 8th grade for the first 2 years. And then the last 3, I taught 7th. So the first 2 years were a little tough because in 8th grade, they think they know everything, right? And
yeah, I was in.
Actually, my first thought of teaching 8th grade was 9/11. It happened my first year of teaching, probably 3rd week? I think that was like the 3rd week, September 11th. And that was so traumatic to all of us. But I think thinking back on that time, they were still babies and they were still teachable and moldable, right? And so I actually just saw one of my 8th grade students a few weeks ago who is now a social worker. And so that was, so that also brings me great joy, right? A couple of my mentees were my 7th grade students, and they went to my alma mater, and I saw them at a homecoming game. They were like, "Are you Miss Morton, my 7th grade teacher?" And I'm like, "Yes." So so that just brings me so much joy when they make it, right? And they graduate high school, they go to college or whatever they want to do, but they make it, right? So yeah, those 5 years really taught me a lot. 7th and 8th grade, just how, students are middle school. I sang everything. I can't sing, but I sang everything. Okay. That's how we got through it. We were a singing bunch. Singing and dancing. That's how we got through it. And I think really teaching them about, the history in the books, but real history, like our history,
Right. Right.
St. Louis history, what really happened, right? And I thought that that was very powerful because then it'll give them a sense of where they should go, right?
Yeah.
And how to be a productive citizen because that's really what we were there for. So that really shaped my life. And then after that, I moved to DC where I raised about $1 million and got about 6 million scholarships for students working with partnerships. And that was one of my favorite jobs ever because I love to talk, as y'all can see. And I love to have great partnerships and collaboration. And I started raising money, which that's what I was like, oh, this is great. I can raise money for these children. This is wonderful, And then I wrote my dissertation on it, right, around HBCUs because I graduated from Hampton University, and so I wanted to write it around HBCUs and fundraising because I think it's a powerful tool to be able to fundraise. So my goal was to be a college president at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's still a goal, but we'll see.
Mhm.
I think I've had positions now that make me say, I don't know if I want to do that. But 7th and 8th grade teaching really shaped my educational career and how I work with students, right? Teaching there and then working at the high school where I helped with fundraising for the band and things like that, and have a lot of mentees from high school there. Some students have gone on to become lawyers. They've gone on to become these great folks out of that mentorship relationship. And then I worked in the Obama administration where then I was a mentor to other people trying to figure out how to get into government or how to get into the administration. And that's a whole nother can of worms and ball of wax of how to do that and how to navigate that, right? Because that really is political. So that was a lot. And then having mentors there too, right, in the DC area that can help guide me and other people who have been in administrations before. And I would say also, when you're thinking about mentorship, don't just think about people who look like you.
Mhm.
Think about everyone because you can gain a lot from everybody, not just people who look like you, not people just in your community, but I think you should also get folks that are in your community as well. I think having, if you're a female, having male mentorships, having people of different genders, having people who are of different backgrounds and ethnicities. It is very important because the different viewpoints give you a more rounded viewpoint of how you should move in the world.
So if you could go back to Normandy, was it Norman?
Normandy Middle.
Okay, if you can go back there, if you can go back, what advice would you give your younger self?
I don't know if it would be advice, but it would be like, girl, you about to do it. Like you about to blow up. This is, it's I think just saying be patient.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna come.
Yeah.
You will have have trials and tribulations, but it's gonna all work out.
You're right.
You will have to navigate supervisors and people and all of these things, but it's going to all work out at the end. I think also just saying like you are going to be great at whatever you decide to do. I think I would give that advice. Like you're going to be great. However you do it, whatever way you get to it, it's going to be great. Whatever choices you make, it's going to be fine. Right. Because I think that your parents are always like, oh, you should do it this way. You should do it that way. And I think giving people choices, because life is like, I remember when we were doing, what is it called? Anyway, we started a little podcast called Choices and Decisions. Everything is about choices and decisions. Your whole entire life. Every day you are making choices and decisions. What food we going to eat today? How we going to get to this place? Every day is choices and decisions. And so your path that you take is a choice or decision. However you get there, it's going to work out. But it's a choice and a decision. We just have to make good choices and decisions, whatever that looks like for us. If you don't, it's okay. You can get back on track. And I think that that's what people need to know. It's okay that you deviate from this choice or decision, but as long as you get back on track, whenever you get back on track, it's going to work out. And whatever on track is for you, because on track is different for different people. Success is different for different people. Success could be working the same job for 40 years, getting your pension. That's success. Some
Yep.
other people, being the CEO of whatever that is success. Having children and raising them and making sure that they're good and successful could be success, right?
Mhm.
So just, the choices and decisions that you make are so important, and being successful is whatever you think it is in your own way.
That's what I tell my students: is your success, it's your definition. So don't try to live out someone else's
Mhm.
success or what you
Yeah.
see, because you'll find yourself stressed out trying to get to their level, and you need to get to your level.
That right there is key. It's whatever your level is. And I think also the other part is because I have this sometimes I have this envy and I have to snap out of it. I'm human. Where I see my friends doing all these great things, and I'm still in education. Like they're making all of this money, but I'm like, well, if you're in education, girl, you ain't gonna make no money. It's okay.
Right.
You're doing what you love to do, right? You're doing what
Yep.
you love to do. And
Yeah.
so I have to like reel it in and say, hey, I love my job. I know my friends might be stressed out. Might be making $200,000 and $300,000, but they stressed out. And I'm not as stressed. And I
Yeah.
love what I do. So I
Yep.
have to look at that as well. So I think comparison kills, as Jonathan McReynolds says,
1%.
comparison kills. And
That's
so we have to, we really have to think about those things. And all of that lends to mental health, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
All of that lends to mental health, and thinking about you comparing yourself to these people on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, or comparing yourself to friends who are doing all of these things.
Yes.
Compare yourself to you. Compare yourself to yourself.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Compare yourself to yourself. So yeah.
So we obviously are hearing your passion.
Mhm.
It just oozes out of you. I mean, it's so what do you think needs to shift in education in that space
Jeez.
to make
That's a
mentorship?
loaded question.
It is. It's
Yeah. Start with money. We can start with money.
you want to go with it. There's current political
Yeah.
stuff taking place now
Yep.
that's
Mhm.
creating limitations that probably weren't there before. So
Mhm.
just speak to that a little bit.
So the question is the need for mentorship in education.
And what shifts what still needs to shift in education to make mentorship more successful and accessible to the students?
So that's a very difficult question. So what I would say, if you're thinking about elementary and middle school, I think the teachers having mentors, right? So that they can have the practice of having a mentor so that they can then mentor students if needed, right? I think having mentorship opportunities or menteeship opportunities when they first begin teaching, constant having that coaching and things like that along the way, and not just having, having professional development, but also not just having the evaluation once a year and you good. Like actually continuing that professional development and mentorship for teachers, the teachers having the mentors, so that they can then mentor students. I think having that as a culture, because it's not a culture, having mentorship as a culture, when you think about fundraising and giving, that's a culture, right?
Mm.
The schools have a giving culture, churches have a giving culture, right? So that's a culture. So mentorship has not become a culture.
Mm.
It is just something that people who may be in corporate America or education and higher education in particular, people who may be in certain industries understand mentorship and how it can be impactful. But I think that mentorship that's not a culture for the United States.
And the mentoring culture, is that something that used to exist and has fallen off, or it's just something that hasn't been there?
Well, I don't know if it was called mentorship in the past, but even when you think about like the 60s, the civil rights movement, I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of mentorship going on there, but nobody really called it mentorship. And thinking about your own communities. But I think mentorship happens in other communities less than probably our communities, if you think, because they may have immigrated here and they have a culture of mentorship within their families and their communities of helping each other. Because mentorship is really just helping each other, right? With resources and things like that. So I think that some cultures do have it, but they may not call it mentorship. They call it something else. Our culture may not have it as much because we were sort of pitted against each other during slavery times. And so people weren't really connected. And even if you think about your family as a whole, your whole family, like, back in the day, my mom's family, they all lived together. That doesn't happen anymore. So they're not helping each other with the resources that they used to help each other with. So it definitely starts in the home. And I think when you think about even like in the church, that is a sort of a family resource kind of thing and a mentorship. You help each other, that kind of thing. But families could get back to that. And I don't know that they're there yet, but I think if it starts in your particular family, then it will continue generations beyond your family, right? But if it doesn't start, or if they get it in school, they could be like, hey, we learned about this thing at school and I got a mentor and this, and then they can do it for their family. Or they can help do it in the family that they're in. And then once they have a family, they can do it in out. Because it's really just about connecting people with resources.
I want to just move forward a little bit, but you're a councilwoman.
Mm-hmm.
You are a leader, you're an educator, and of course a mentor.
Yeah.
So how do you juggle all of those? And I forgot, you are a podcast host. So how do you juggle all of that, right?
Yeah, very strategically. But I really like to say that I'm like accessible to everybody. So like if somebody calls or needs something, I'm accessible to help them figure it out because that just brings me great joy. I know people are like, how do you do it all? I think God really, I think he just gives me the energy to do it all. The council, it can be a lot when you're dealing with concerns from residents and things like that, reporting those things. That part brings me great joy because I'm really shaping the community in which I live. And so I love doing that and really helping people with resources like we've been talking about the entire podcast. So I think that that's really important. So integrating, so it's almost like I do all of these things anyway. I just happen to be like a title, right? I do it at work. I do it for my community. And so it's sort of like I just do it anyway. I might as well just have a title for it,
Sounds like who you are. I mean,
it is
sounds like who you are. This is you.
This is who I am. And I'm not a political person. I just want to help people get what they need. Because it's different between a politician and someone, because people are like, oh, you're a politician, No, I'm not a politician. I'm trying to help people get what they need. And I am not going to, my morals and standards will stay the same. I am just trying to get them what they need when they need it and not lower any kind of standards or no quid pro quo, none of that kind of stuff. I just want to help people get what they need by any means necessary, if that makes sense. I want to give people, I want to give people the policy, the structure, what we are doing. And so that they have information so that they can not only use that information, but give it to other neighbors and share it. Like I was with two residents earlier this morning for breakfast, talking to them about issues that they're having on their blocks about grass and trash and all these other things. And I think a lot of people don't know who to turn to for certain things, right? Some things could be the county. Some things could be MoDOT. Some things could be the city in which you live, and some things could be the school district. So you just really people don't know. They just know, hey, I need this to be done. They don't know who has to do it. And so they don't know the route to take to get it done. And so that's why I'm here to help you figure out how to get it done.
Right. So
and try to get through the frustration. Try to get through that frustration.
All right. So as a host, tell us what that's like on Two Dancing Dots, where you talk about everything from what is it, premenopause to mentorship so tell us what that's like.
Perimenopause. I want you to get the word correct.
I'm very
perimenopause. But going through it now. So I think being a co-host is fun. Actually, it's fun because we've been knowing each other since high school. And what we talked about the first episode is how we know each other, but we really didn't know each other. We knew each other in high school. We reconnected while we were in college. We know each other on a surface level, but not really on a deeper level. And so it's fun and interesting getting to be on a deeper level with a friend from high school. And really you realize how many people are you on a deep level with? Because the only people that I'm really on a deep level with is my husband and my sorority sisters, my line sisters, because they've known me since I was 19, right? Or, so you know them. And I also feel like this is funny, but if I can't ask you for no money, we don't really know each other for real, right? I'm just saying. Like, I mean, do we really know
That's
each
funny.
other? Uh,
That's funny.
so I mean,
That's
you
true
know,
truth to it.
Yeah, I like that.
true. It's true. You really know me? I mean, so, and I think that it's fun in that we both have different perspectives of things, but everybody kind of want to talk about it. And I think, you know, growing up, whoever your parents were and people didn't talk. People didn't tell you things. You had to figure it out. And so this is the era of people letting people know how they feel and the mental health piece and how you're feeling and having emotional intelligence. And it's great. But sometimes, you know, you're like, oh man, we just got through things. We were just latchkey kids. We figured it out. We did what we had to do. We didn't even think about whether it was trauma or not. We just got through it. And now people are really thinking about these things. While it's great, we want to make sure that we're not using this as a crutch, but really getting help to get what you need so that you can get through life for real. So really that's what we're talking about. She is a therapist, you know, she does postpartum. So when women have postpartum, she does marriage counseling, she does all kind of counseling. So it's fun having both of us sort of talk about from both of our lenses, experiences that we've had, and then really bringing in experiences of friends and family members and things like that. But really to talk about the things that nobody told us about. Nobody told us we were going to be in perimenopause, my legs sweating, the back of my legs sweating while I'm sitting down, being embarrassed when I get up, like, oh, I got to wipe that off. You know, mood changes, mood swings, just people snapping on people, just all of those things that you don't know that's going to happen because of your body, right? So, just making sure that also people are taking their medicine, people going to the doctor, like, women and men, right? There's so many people who are dying younger and, having heart attacks. And, it's just a lot. We got to stay here and be healthy. And my plan is to be here till I'm 102. My great grandmother was 102 when she passed. So that's my goal.
Wow. That's mine too. That's mine too. I want to be 118. Look.
Right.
Just on the age.
Yeah. And so, living that, she lived in the country in Missouri. And so living that good country life and she lived in rural Missouri, living that good life of just being stress-free. I think that's really where it comes from. That's trying to be as stress-free as you can would be best for you to have longevity. So, yeah. Yep.
So it's time to land it. Time to bring it home.
Yeah,
so,
bring it on home. Bring it on home.
All right. So what advice
That's what I would tell the
you give to our
pastor
listeners?
to bring it on home. Bring it on home, pastor. Bring it on home.
Bring it on.
Bring it on home.
Right. So what advice would you give to our listeners, especially first gen students, new leaders, or even aspiring mentors who feel overwhelmed? Like what would you?
I think letting the first generation of students know, first of all, congratulations, you made it. Congratulations, you made it. So how can you give back to someone that is in the same position that you were 4 years ago or 2 years ago, whenever you started college and whenever you started the workforce, right? What can you give back to them, or how can you give back to them? And if you're feeling overwhelmed, talk to someone. Everybody should have therapy. That's what I think. I think everybody should go to therapy. I think we all need somebody to talk to outside of our friends, outside of our pastors. Yeah. We all should have a person who went to school for this to have a conversation with, because they have the tools needed to talk you off a ledge, literally. So I think that it's important to have therapy. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a step back, reevaluate the situation, and then come back in. I think that a lot of times we don't take the step back, and it's hard. Even I feel guilty when I'm not doing anything. I do. I feel guilty. When I'm just sitting down watching TV, I feel so guilty. I'm like, I got to be checking the email. I need to be sending something. I need to be doing something, And, and I don't know if it's my generation of thinking, but it's like, I feel like I always need to be working, right? Or I always need to be doing something related to work or helping people or something. And so I personally also need to take some time for myself, but I think that as a first generation student, it's heavy because you have your parents, you have all of your family that's counting on you to do all these great things. Remember, we talked about choices and decisions earlier, making those choices and whatever good choices that means for you. But you have the whole weight of your family on you. And so know that you can do it, but also set boundaries for yourself. Because if you don't, it can be heavy. It really can. Because everybody's like, Johnny is the smart one. Oh, Susie, she's gonna get us through. But that's pressure, right? That's pressure on students. And so making sure that you give back, but also take time for yourself and know that you did well, and try to not have all of that pressure on your back from your family, because there's so much family pressure, school pressure, friend pressure. There's so much pressure on students these days. And they all want to be perfect. People cannot be perfect. People cannot be perfect. And I think that's something that we should instill into the culture. Nobody is perfect. You can only do the best that you can do at that moment. And so my prayer every day is make it happen today and be the best you that you can be. And that's what I lead with every day. Like make it happen and be the best that you can be today. Because you can only be the best that you can be on that day, right? And people have to realize, like, we're not perfect. We are human. We all make mistakes. And so learn from the mistake and move on. But then we also beat ourselves up once we make the mistake. So we just need to we need to say, okay, that was a mistake. My bad. Let's recorrect, and move on, right? And so that pressure is real for first generation students. It's also a lot of pressure for low income students and students with disabilities. And so a disability could be a physical disability, it could be a mental disability, but it could be, ADHD, anxiety, any of those things, ADD, which I feel like I have adult ADHD and non-diagnosed, but I'm gonna try to figure out how to get diagnosed. I'm upset with my mom. She should have known as a special education teacher, but she said I got through, so it all worked out. But I think that definitely there's a lot of pressure on students who go to college, from the families, from the friends, to academically, even pressure from professors, right? How do you navigate that? That's a beast in itself. First of all, how do you navigate the university? So that's my job, really, is to help students navigate the university, navigate and help advocate when you're working with your professors, right? Sit in the front row, go to office hours, you be on top of it in that space. How do you navigate social settings, right? Telling a friend I can't go to that party because I need to do whatever I need to study, right? Having those boundaries, having time management skills, because in high school it's different. You have 7 courses you go into back to back to back, and then you need to do homework for this class, this class. In college, you might go to a class and not have anything to do for 2 weeks, but it got to get done. And how do you navigate that, right? So it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure from everyone around when you're first generation, low income, or a student with disability. But it's pressure in general if you didn't have any of those things. And so navigating that, telling them it's okay if you're not perfect, finding a mentor, finding someone in your community that can help you, but also taking some time for yourself and really getting to know you, because in college, that's when you find out who you really are outside of your parents. Because all you know is your parents helping guide you, and you don't even know who you are until you get to college, because then you form your own identity outside of your parents. It's difficult. It's difficult. And then who are you outside of college? I always say that you have to make your brand. Everyone is a brand. My brand is Kim Morton. Your brand is John Burnett. Your brand is Terrence. So we all have brands, and so we have to create our brands. And at each role, you can recreate who you are. You can recreate your brand, right? That. And so you got to know who you are. Stay true to yourself, and make great choices and great decisions. And be okay if you fall, because you can get back up and start all over again, like Aaliyah said, right? So I think that dust yourself off and try again. Okay. Anyway.
Right.
But I think that you can reinvent who you are, right? And it's okay, and I think that that's it. People it's perfection all the time. It's either the perfection or not. But it's so much in between that can be done. So I think I would just give them advice to learn who you are, figure out who you are, be you, be authentically who you are. Because it's important. If you're not authentic, it won't work. And people can see through it. People can see through you not being authentic.
So what's next for you? So what's next for you? What you got next as far as like, legacy, building your legacy? What's next for Dr. Kim Morton?
Okay. I think my legacy will be that I gave, and that I gave hope to people. I gave resources. I think my legacy will be that I was a good leader, that I helped my community, that I also, I'm a good auntie. Auntie, by the way. And becoming a bonus mom. What else? A good wife. I think what's next for me though is to figure out what I want to do long term, right? Because I think I might have about 15 or 17 years before retirement. So I just need to figure out the next thing before retirement. Like, do I stay in this education space for the long haul? And then do I do my fun stuff on the side, like podcasting and, all the other things that I like to do? Do I want to be a college president still? Probably not. But where do I want to be in education if I want to stay in education? Do I get out of education? Like, there's just so many avenues. And I think in this entrepreneurial spirit, people just kind of can do whatever they want to do, which is great, but figuring out how to make money, that's the thing, right? You can do all these things, but how are you going to make money? That's always how do you make money from this? How do you, as a consultant, how do you make money from this? What does that look like? How can I get benefits? Because that's very important, health benefits. But I think what's next for me is to just be a better version of myself, to be a great leader, to really help people. And that's really the goal for me. I mean, that brings me great joy. Whatever it is with my actual job, as long as I'm doing those things, that's really what I want to do. But my legacy is to have been a great leader in all of my roles, but also working for the first Black president. That's a legacy.
Absolutely.
And I think just being a good person, being a good person. Cause it's hard it's not hard being a good person, but it can be difficult when other people are not good people. Right. Yes. Just to try to navigate that and try to stay true to yourself as being a good person and customer friendly and just taking the high road, like Michelle said, when they go high, when they go low, you go high. And I think that's really what's important to me, just the customer service, because you can get what you want if you're kind. Just be kind to people. I think that kindness goes a long way. Yep. Kindness goes a long way. So that's sort of what I lead, like just kindness, helping with resources, being a great neighbor, being a great mentor, and leadership, and just having fun. I tell people that I want you to have a whole party for me. That's what I want you to, like a real party. Like I want you to, and I actually almost want to be there because I want to have a party before the actual party when I leave. And so, but I think a real huge party will be great. And and look, just have fun and dance. That's the legacy.
There's the podcast.
Yep. Have fun and dance. 2 dancing
dots. There it is. There it is.
I find it funny, Terrence, that she started out the podcast when she likes to have fun. And when she likes to have fun.
Right.
That's it. But we appreciate you. We thank you so much. And I want to personally thank you for mentoring my wife. I mean, she has like this wonderful aura when she comes home and be like, man, I just talked to Dr. Kim and it was such a good conversation. I felt so much better. And she, and then too, we also, John and I like to thank you. I don't know if we had the opportunity to really, really thank you for speaking up for us in the room to get us on that campus for speaking engagement.
Yes.
We really appreciate that.
Yes. Anytime. Yes. Yeah. I think it's important. And, also when you're a mentor, let me just say something real quick. Hopefully your mentor will tell you the truth.
Amen.
Hopefully your mentor will tell you the truth. Because it's one thing when somebody is being a mentor and kind of telling you what you want to hear, but mentors need to tell the truth, right? And be very consistent in telling their mentee the truth,
Yeah.
giving them options and choices, but really telling them the truth. Because there's so many things that can happen when people are just not authentic and not telling the truth. It's just not good. It leads people down a bad path, when you're not honest. Yeah.
So tell us the name of your book again.
When Auntie Comes to Visit, A Christmas with Auntie. And so I'm writing a series. So it'll be like the 4th of July with Auntie, or, that kind of thing. So it'll be fun. And it's a children's book because my babies are young and my older babies are now 18 and 16. And the babies are 3, 4, and 6. So it was just really for them. But yeah. Yep.
And if somebody wants to reach you, what's a good email to get a hold of?
Okay. Dr. Kimberly Morton at gmail.com. DrKimberly Morton, like the salt, at gmail.com.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
Well, thank you guys so much for bringing me on. I truly appreciate it. If you need anything else, let me know. I think I am going to teach the class about how to navigate the workspace.
Come on. We there.
And I may I'll probably do it online. It'll be fun.
Okay.
We can talk through scenarios.
Awesome.
All right. Have a good rest of your day. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Likewise. Thank you.
Bye.
There we have it. Coach's Room, man, the Rated XYZ podcast. And we will put some links. We'll put that information in the description on this particular video. We want the people to reach out to us and let us know what other subjects, Terrence, or types of people they might want to see come on the podcast.
That's right.
So, signing out.
Peace.